Odisha power grid shows infrastructure stress under climate shocks. As climate-driven disasters intensify, Odisha offers a rare longitudinal case study of how repeated extreme weather exposes structural weaknesses and forces operational adaptation inside power infrastructure. A joint report by the Odisha State Disaster Management Authority and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure examines how the state's power system has responded to multiple high-intensity cyclones over the past decade, including Cyclone Fani, and what those responses reveal about resilience under stress. Repeated shocks, compounding damage. Since 2010, Odisha has experienced 5 high-intensity cyclones, with power infrastructure among the most consistently damaged assets. Downed distribution poles, damaged substations, and widespread line failures disrupted not only electricity supply, but also telecommunications, water systems, healthcare services, and financial operations. The report underscores a recurring pattern. Power outages act as a force multiplier for broader infrastructure disruption, extending recovery timelines across sectors. Where the system was most vulnerable, the assessment identifies structural fragility in distribution networks as a primary failure point. Above-ground lines, aging poles, and radial grid designs proved particularly vulnerable to high wind speeds and flooding. Damage was often concentrated in coastal and low-lying districts, where exposure combined with limited redundancy increased restoration complexity. Importantly, the report emphasizes that vulnerability was not solely a function of asset age. Design standards, construction quality, maintenance practices, and siting decisions all played a role in determining whether infrastructure failed quickly or endured initial impact. Operational practices that reduced downtime. One of the report's most notable findings is the outsized role of operational preparedness. Measures such as centralized control rooms, pre-positioning of repair crews and materials, real-time public communication, and routine emergency drills significantly reduced restoration times following Cyclone Fani. These steps were relatively low cost compared to large-scale hardening projects, yet they delivered measurable resilience gains. The report highlights preparedness as a critical bridge strategy, while longer-term infrastructure upgrades remain in progress. Structural investments that changed outcomes. Over time, Odisha has paired operational reforms with targeted capital investments. Projects such as converting radial grids to ring systems, undergrounding select distribution lines in urban areas, elevating outdoor equipment above flood levels, and reinforcing poles and substations have improved system performance during subsequent storms. The report notes that these investments were guided by exposure mapping and post-event damage analysis, allowing resources to be directed toward the most failure-prone assets rather than uniformly distributed across the system. Community coordination as infrastructure strategy. Beyond physical assets, the report frames community engagement as an infrastructure resilience component. Programs that trained local volunteers and coordinated with utilities helped accelerate damage assessment, improve safety during restoration, and support communication between operators and residents during prolonged outages. This approach reduced pressure on utility crews and improved public trust during recovery periods, an often overlooked but operationally meaningful outcome. Why this case matters beyond Odisha. While Odisha's exposure profile is extreme, the stress patterns identified, aging distribution assets, limited redundancy, cascading failures, and reliance on operational improvisation mirror challenges facing power systems globally. The report's central implication is that resilience is not achieved through a single intervention, but through layered strategies that combine design, operations, planning, and community coordination. As climate volatility increases, Odisha's experience offers a practical lens on how infrastructure behaves when buffers disappear, and recovery becomes the true test of system strength. You've been listening to Sustainability Soundbites by Environment and Energy Leader. For partnership opportunities, please reach out to our team.